Ooh, that's gross. That's gross. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CoculesNation and Chag Hamatzot Shemeach. My name is Secret Agent Neeks No Cocules. I'm the founder and the director of the Cocules Industry Spy Network and the CoculesNation. Touhou, the most famous bullet curtain shoot-'em-up series of all time, made by one man, Zun. I bet some people didn't know this, but there are 6 fighting games that are spin-offs within the Touhou franchise. We will be installing 2 of them using Linux and open source software today. That being said, if you like what you see and want to see more like this in the future, you can do this one of 4 ways. You can hit the like button to show your support to the CoculesNation, hit the subscribe button to become a member of the CoculesNation. You can ring the bell icon to be notified when new episodes arrive at 2 p.m. Pacific time every Thursday afternoon. And last but not least, you can share this channel with your family or friends. Now, there are a couple of prerequisites you will need in order to really install these games. Number 1, you will need to acquire both Touhou 10.5 Scarlet Weather Rhapsody and Touhou 12.3 Hisoutensoku, or just Soku for short in the community. Now, I personally play 12.3. I've not played 10.5, but 12.3 is an expansion of 10.5. So in technicality, I've played 10.5 and 12.3. You will also need wine. As we have noted in our VR chat video, by the way, a link will be on the top right hand corner of your screen or the description below if you have not seen that yet, I have outlined what wine does. Speaking of which, we will be making a wine prefix. So to do that, it will be wine prefix in all caps. This is in your terminal emulator. I'm using Alacrity. Equals, you'll want to hit the grave key while holding shift. This will bring in your tilde. Your tilde is your shortcut to use for your home directory. /, and then it'll be .y-touhou. You will also want in your terminal emulator to type in wine arch equals win64. This is a 64-bit wine prefix that you will be making. Now, that being said, I've already made my wine Touhou prefix. You just have to hit enter once you're done with that command. Now, we will go into the wine CFG. This is very familiar because these are some of the same steps we've used in the VR chat tutorial. Now, under your application settings, you will need to set the Windows version to Windows XP. Specifically, Windows XP is what you want. Now, I've also tried it with just the standard, which is Windows 7, but I would probably recommend XP, just in case. And in the library section, you will want to override D3D9. Another application you'll want to install is Acetone ISO. I will mount an image. The image, since I'm using a thumb drive, will go into Media, your username, and whatever drive you have. I have a PNY 16 gigabyte drive. And then we will be mounting the ISO image for Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. That's the first game we will be downloading. This will actually start an application called Fuse ISO, but you will need to unmount the image in order to disable Fuse ISO. Then I will go into this. You should see a virtual drives folder here. Virtual drive 1. And you will have the setup.exe. All of this has to do specifically with Touhou 10.5 Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. We will go into our terminal emulator. I will clear it by writing clear. And then we will type the following, .exe. This is an executable. Now, once that is done, we will hit enter. And this will install Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. And there you go. It has now been finished. Now, what we will do is grab the patch. And you'll go into en.touhouwiki.net. And there you will be able to find the 1.06a update, which does require a Japanese locale. Now, you don't need to know Japanese, you don't need to speak Japanese in order to read any of that. We'll just go into that, TH123 demo, TH10.5, and we'll go into that. Now, we will go into a new tab. I right-clicked on my CUDA. I will open that in the new tab. I'll go into Games, go into TH123 Demo, TH105. You will see TH105 underscore update underscore 106a.exe. Now, we will, first I'll clear it, and then we'll do the following command. And this will install the update patch for Touhou 10.5, Scarlet Weather Rhapsody. And since I don't have a Japanese locale, it is all in gibberish. Once you get to this step, follow me. You will need to follow me anyways. You will want to click this button. And then it will ask you where it happens, where your current version happens to be at that time. And then you'll hit this button again. And then you'll double check that it happens to be there. We will update the game. You know what I did? Ladies and gentlemen? I installed that into a different patch. I believe this. Yep, that's what I did. See, that's why you double check. That's why you double check that this stuff is correct. So, I have to do this again. That's okay by me. Click this button, not this one, this cancels. And this time you'll want to hit this button. This button will specifically be for where it happens to be at. We will download this, and that is correct for this demonstration. Now, there are a couple of different things you have, and right here are the update patches. I will copy all of these, place them here. Aha! Yes, of course, I should have done this instead. Now, if you want to play this game in English, there is an English patch of this game right here with the official 1.06a patch. We'll go into this. We will download the English patch, which is 5 megabytes. And you will place it in your TH105 directory. I ended up starting because I did not know what to say. I am doing all of this on the fly. Do keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I didn't tell you this, but I'm also planning to demonstrate how the game works on my own Linux machine. So if you want to see that, you might want to subscribe. By the way, 80% of you, ladies and gentlemen, are not subscribed to the CoculesNation. So you might want to consider doing that to become members. And to also be notified when you click the bell when new videos arrive. We do this every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. I just want to double check we got that correct. Once the file is downloaded on Mega, it should say SWR English Translation v1_1a.exe. This is the correct file you want. You want to save it to there. Now I'll get the browser out of the way for a second, and there it is. Now, we will do the same thing, but this time is going to be different. We'll want the same thing as before. That's why I hit up on my keyboard, by the way, my up arrow on the keyboard, to bring this back. You don't have to type it in, you just have to use the arrow keys. And then we'll do the English translation downloader. Aha, it failed to open because I spelled it incorrectly. Aha, yes I did. I spelled it incorrectly. You definitely want to double check your spelling. So, here, this is the setup to translate the game into English. That's all you need for Touhou 10.5. It is already installed. But ladies and gentlemen, there is one more thing you're going to want to do, and that is obviously Touhou 12.3. So, I will unmount Scarlet Weather Rhapsody, get that out of here, and we'll actually close this and delete the drive here. I've actually copied it from my CUDA over there. So now I'll have to do the same thing. CUDA. Now go into Touhou ISO. And then we'll want to get 12.3 Hisoutensoku.iso. you want to get the ISO from your disk, copy the ISO onto your machine. Now, we'll bring it into the PNY. So the file transfer is now complete, and we have 12.3, the ISO. Now, the next step to do, I'll go into here. We'll go back into acetone. We will go back into our file manager and go into our virtual drives again. So I would find the virtual drive thing right here. The virtual drive command you did when we installed 10.5. But this time, we'll be taking out the setup.exe part and do th123 setup.exe. Same thing as always. But there will be more things to do, and I have my web browser open for that. While this is going on, let's go back into our web browser and find this specific website, Hisouten.komakan.jp. This is the Touhou Hisoutensoku wiki. There are a couple of things you will need. First, 110A. We can now get rid of that drive. We'll go back into acetone and unmount the drive. Once the drive is unmounted, we can then remove it from here. So we do not need this acetone anymore. That can get out of here. What we can do now, we'll go into our games and then Hisoutensoku. And you will want this. All of this is for Hisoutensoku. But we will go into our web browser when we have the Hisoutensoku wiki up, and I will actually be leaving a link to these in the description below. I forgot to do that. Luckily, in editing, that was already reminded of you. That being said, we will be grabbing the patch mirror. And then we'll want to do this, Touhou 12.3 Hisoutensoku. You want it to be like that. Otherwise, you probably won't know where it's going to go. Now, there is a network play if you want to get into that, but I would recommend just grabbing the rewired version if you want to get into network play. The version I'm downloading is specifically for the purposes of training. Now, let's also, while we're at it, get the English translation of this game. I will just grab the latest one, 1.1a. Now, you may see this thing right here. Well, we will go into config ex123.ini. We'll double click on that to open the text editor of choice. I am using Notepad QQ. Now we will hit enter and then type in path equals and then what your game's path is. Now that part is done. We will go back into our terminal, and you do not need the web browser anymore unless you want to check out the mods. I will leave the mods page in the description below, but this will be for the vanilla game. Anyway, we will type in the following command. Actually, we'll just use this, but take all this out. And then we'll go through the same thing. We'll click this button here, and then we'll click this button. And then we'll go into this thing here. This will download the 110A patch for Hisoutensoku. So now you should see this. Hit this to finish, and then this to finish. And you'll see this th123 thing here. We'll grab all that, copy it to the actual Hisoutensoku. That's now been copied, and we will shift delete to permanently delete this because it's already been copied as it needed to be. And then again, we've done this here. This is actually required to get everybody from 10.5 over to 12.3. This is how you, I guess, devlock them, because it's devlocked. Because this is actually the expansion to 10.5. Keep that in mind. That's why we did this earlier. Now, we'll do the same thing for the English translation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you should be able to launch the game right there. But if you launch the game using this, that will be a little bit of time to type it in, unless you save it somewhere in your notepad. You do not need that. Instead, we will use Lutris. We'll go into the plus here, add locally installed game. We will want Wine. Release year of 2009. The release year is actually optional. And I'll have to put in demo here because I was demonstrating how to install both games. Anyway, game options. We'll find the executable. So it'll be under games, TH123 demo, this, and then you want TH123E if you want to play the English translation, or if you want to play the original game, then you can do TH123.exe. But I assume you want the English version of the game since my audience is primarily English. I do have a Japanese-speaking audience too, which is why we've been translating our videos into Japanese in some cases. Well, not fully, because I still need Japanese translators. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will do 123e.exe. That will be me. That will be for me. Our wine prefix. We will go to our Touhou wine prefix that we made earlier. Prefix architecture set to 64-bit. Runner options. I have the latest FS hack, but you can use whatever wine version you want. You'll want to experiment with it. Now, there are a couple of things to do here. This is for the Linux users, by the way. We will add two overrides. The first one will be d3d9.present interval. That's the first one. The second one is dxgi.sync interval. The value will be set to 0 on both. This will disable the vsync in this game, because this game will come with vsync. This is the way to disable it. You'll go into the system options next and select disable desktop effects. This is also another way you can reduce lag. I do not know what I was thinking. Be right back. By the way, for disabling of the vsync, you can also go into your system options and do that if you want to. I just go into the runner options and I did this instead. But I don't need to because it's already in the system options. Either one will work. And yes, these are case sensitive. These keys right here are case sensitive. Keep that in mind. This is how you're supposed to spell them, because otherwise this will not work. Now, if you want to really go over the top and have as little input lag as possible, you can go into your file system, which is this thing right here, go into your etc, default, and into your grub, assuming you use grub. Linux Mint, Manjaro, and Garud Linux, I believe all use grub. So we'll go into our grub file. And then, under this thing here, grub cmd line Linux default, I'll do this for demonstrative purposes. We'll do grub, do the same thing here, cmd line underscore Linux underscore default. This is recommended if you have an NVIDIA graphics card, like I do. If you have an AMD or an Intel graphics card, you do not need to worry about this, but I do. And if I recall correctly, this is NVIDIA-DRM.modset equals 1. I believe this is how it works. I do not care if there is a tiny bit of input lag. If it's mere milliseconds, that is fine for me. But I do not need this. I personally do not need this because it's already done. Let's not save it. I do not need to save this thing. Let's discard that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, you should have vanilla 12.3 Hisoutensoku installed. If you want to install mods, there are instructions for these mods you can download in the description below, in the mods page of the Hisoutensoku wiki. Now, that being said, I will be demonstrating some gameplay for you guys of how 12.3 works. so you can see that it actually happens to work on Linux and open source software. And we'll be using this one. This one has a couple of mods installed, but these are just quality of life changes. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be right back and get everything set up. So now, ladies and gentlemen, you should have Hisoutensoku set up for training play. Now, you will obviously want a fight stick. You've also had the ability to use control as well. You can still use a controller, like a pad, but I'm using a fight stick. The one I'll be using is the Real Arcade Pro 4 Kai by Hori. Now, that being said, I already have everything I need. Let's just do a versus com match. And if you see that player profile right there, that's me. If you see me with that profile, that means I am online playing the rewired version of this game. I will be leaving that link in the description below. Now, before we get started with the match, if you like this video and want to see more like this in the future, you can do this one of 4 ways. You can hit the like button to show your support to the CoculesNation. 80% of you, as I have said, are not subscribed to this channel, so you might want to consider subscribing to become a member of the CoculesNation. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when new episodes arrive. We post every Thursday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And last but not least, you can share this channel with your family and friends. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get straight into the match. Now, one thing to keep in mind. You will need to know that I play Reimu, the Shrine Maiden. Just so we're aware, I am a Reimu main. Oh, this is gonna suck. I am not good at Hisoutensoku whatsoever, but I quite enjoy it so far. This is a mobility and artillery-based game, and yes, it's heavily bullet-based. Oh boy. Ooh, and I grazed through that. Let's do this real quick. Ooh, that's a good turnaround, though. Ooh, goodness. There you go. First down of the round. Again, I am not good at Hisoutensoku, but I enjoy playing it nonetheless. I would like to play this game professionally, but that requires a lot of training, and I would need somebody to train me in the ways of how this game works. Ooh, that's actually pretty disgusting. Oof. Ouch. That's not good. That's not good. But this is a bullet. It's really a artillery and well, it's artillery and mobility based. Here's the magic potion. Ooh. Oh, that's disgusting. There's a little bit of frame data on that. That's disgusting. Ooh, that's gross. That's gross. Really good movement, though. As long as you can master the movement, you can really go ham with how you move in this game. Oh, I need the anti-air here. What's the anti-air? Ooh, I tried the anti-air, but that wasn't gonna work. I need to block, because I can't block. I just have an addiction to not blocking things. I just have a blocking allergy. I don't know why, but I seem to have a blocking allergy. Okay. Send these orbs here. I am playing on hard, by the way. Just so you know, I am playing on hard difficulty. Ooh, nice move. There we go. How about that? Ooh, and a quick knockout. That's disgusting. But that's basically what Touhou 12.3 is. Now, should be done with that, and I face Deiji, of course. Anyway, if you like this video and want to see more like this in the future, you can do this one of 4 ways. You can hit the like button to show your support to the CoculesNation, hit the subscribe button to become a member of the CoculesNation, hit the bell icon to be notified when new episodes arrive every Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and last but not least, you can share this channel with your family and friends. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, Chag Hamatzot Shemeach, and good night.